There's something most people will never admit about their daily experience. They wake up feeling like life is happening to them, like they're passengers in their own existence, watching circumstances unfold, reacting to what shows up, managing whatever gets thrown their way. And somewhere along the line, we accepted this as normal. We accepted that reality is this fixed, immovable thing that we have to navigate around, adapt to, survive within. But what if I told you that everything you've been taught about how reality works is backwards? What if the truth is so radically different that it would completely transform how you move through the world? Because here's what nobody talks about. Reality isn't this solid, predetermined structure that you bump into. Reality is responsive. It's fluid. It's actually waiting for you to make the first move. Most people spend their entire lives reacting to what they think is already there. They see their bank account and react to it. They see their relationships and react to them. They see their circumstances and react to those. But they never stop to ask the deeper question: where did all of this come from in the first place? How did these patterns get set in motion? And more importantly, who's really running the show here? The answer might disturb you. Because if reality is truly responsive to you, then everything you're experiencing right now, everything you're dealing with, everything you're struggling against, is actually a reflection of something much deeper, something that's been broadcasting from within you, often without your conscious awareness. Think about it. Have you ever noticed how some people seem to effortlessly attract opportunities while others can't catch a break? How some people walk into rooms and instantly command respect while others fade into the background? How some people seem to live in a world where doors open and synchronicities flow while others feel like they're constantly swimming upstream? We tell ourselves it's luck. We tell ourselves it's privilege. We tell ourselves it's timing. But what if it's something else entirely? What if these people have figured out something that most of us are completely blind to? What if they've learned to work with the responsive nature of reality instead of against it? See, here's the thing about reality that nobody wants to acknowledge. It's not neutral. It's not just sitting there waiting for you to figure out how to fit into it. Reality is actually reading you. It's picking up on signals you're sending out every single moment. Signals that most people don't even know they're broadcasting. Your internal state, your beliefs about what's possible, your relationship with yourself, the stories you tell yourself about who you are and what you deserve. All of this is information, and reality is responding to that information constantly. Not sometimes, not when you're being positive or when you're doing affirmations, constantly. But here's where it gets interesting. Most people are completely unconscious of what they're actually broadcasting. They think they want success, but they're secretly terrified of it. They think they want love, but they're convinced they're not worthy of it. They think they want change, but they're comfortable in their familiar patterns of struggle. And reality responds to what you actually believe, not what you think you believe. It responds to your authentic internal state, not the mask you wear for the world. It responds to the conversation you're having with yourself when no one else is listening. This is why positive thinking alone doesn't work. This is why vision boards and affirmations often fall flat. This is why people can work incredibly hard and still feel like they're getting nowhere. Because they're trying to manipulate reality from the outside while broadcasting completely different information from the inside. Reality isn't responding to your words. It's responding to your frequency. It's responding to the vibration of your being. It's responding to who you actually are when you strip away all the pretending and all the trying and all the efforting. Now, before you start thinking this is some mystical woo-woo concept, let me ground this in something you can actually observe. Look at your life right now. Look at the patterns. Look at the types of people you attract. Look at the opportunities that show up or don't show up. Look at the way money flows or doesn't flow. Look at the way relationships unfold. All of this is data. All of this is feedback. All of this is reality, responding to something you're putting out there. And the beautiful thing is, once you understand this, Once you really get that reality is responsive, everything changes, because suddenly you're not a victim of circumstances. You're not at the mercy of external forces. You're not waiting for the world to change so you can be happy. You realize that you've been the one setting the tone all along. You've been the one creating the conditions. You've been the one determining what's possible, not through force or manipulation or trying to control outcomes, but through the simple act of being who you authentically are. But here's the catch. Most people are not being who they authentically are. They're being who they think they should be. They're being who they think will keep them safe. They're being who they think will get them love and approval and acceptance. And reality responds to that too. It responds to the fear. It responds to the need for approval. It responds to the playing small. It responds to the hiding. It responds to the pretending. And it gives you more situations where you feel like you need to fear and seek approval and play small and hide and pretend. This is the loop most people are stuck in. They're afraid of being themselves, so they put on a mask. Reality responds to the mask and the fear behind it. They get results that confirm their fears. They decide they need to hide even more, and the cycle continues. But what happens when you break the cycle? What happens when you start being authentic? What happens when you stop trying to control how reality responds and start focusing on what you're actually putting out there? This is where things get really interesting, because when you align your internal state with what you actually want, when you stop sending mixed signals, when you start being congruent, reality starts responding differently, not because you're forcing it to, not because you're using some technique or strategy, but because you're finally broadcasting clear information. You're finally being someone who reality can respond to in a way that serves you. You're finally operating from a place of authenticity instead of fear. You're finally showing up as who you actually are instead of who you think you need to be. And this is when people start saying you're lucky. This is when they start saying you have connections. This is when they start saying you're in the right place at the right time. But you know better. You know that reality is simply responding to the new information you're broadcasting. The question is, are you ready to take responsibility for that information? Are you ready to look at what you're actually putting out there? Are you ready to stop being a victim of circumstances and start being the conscious creator of your experience? Because once you understand that reality responds to you, everything becomes possible. But it also means you can't blame external circumstances anymore. You can't point fingers at the economy or your past or other people. You have to own your part in creating what you're experiencing. And that's both terrifying and liberating, because it means you have way more power than you ever imagined. But it also means you have way more responsibility than you ever wanted. The good news is this responsibility is actually freedom, because when you understand how reality really works, when you understand that it's responding to you, you can start working with it instead of against it. You can start creating consciously instead of unconsciously. But first, you need to understand exactly what you're broadcasting right now. You need to understand what signals you're sending out that are creating your current experience. And more importantly, you need to understand how to shift those signals so reality starts responding in a way that actually serves you. The shift starts with a simple but profound realization. You are not separate from reality. You are not standing outside of it, trying to figure out how to get in. You are not a victim of forces beyond your control. You are an active participant in a conversation that's been happening your entire life. A conversation between your inner world and the outer world, between who you are and what shows up. Most people think they're powerless because they're looking at reality like it's a movie screen. They think they're watching something that's already been filmed, already been decided, already been set in stone. But reality is more like a live performance. It's improvising based on what you bring to the stage. It's responding to your energy, your presence, your authentic self. And here's what's wild about this. The moment you stop trying to force reality to bend to your will, the moment you stop pushing and manipulating and efforting your way through life, something extraordinary happens. Reality starts moving toward you. Opportunities start flowing. people start showing up. Synchronicities start happening. Not because you're lucky, but because you're finally in alignment with how reality actually works. You're no longer broadcasting mixed signals. You're no longer saying one thing with your words and another thing with your being. You're no longer trying to convince reality to give you something while secretly believing you don't deserve it. You're finally being congruent, and reality loves congruence. But here's the part that trips people up. They think being congruent means being perfect. They think it means having it all figured out. They think it means never having doubts or fears or moments of uncertainty. But that's not what congruence is about. Congruence is about being honest. It's about being real. It's about showing up as you actually are instead of who you think you should be. When you're pretending to be confident while feeling insecure, reality responds to the insecurity. When you're pretending to be happy while feeling empty, reality responds to the emptiness. When you're pretending to be successful while feeling like a fraud, reality responds to the fraud. Because reality doesn't care about your performance, it cares about your truth. And your truth is powerful. Your authentic self is magnetic. Your real energy is what reality has been waiting for. Because when you stop hiding who you are, when you stop apologizing for your existence, when you stop trying to be someone else, you finally become someone that reality can work with. This doesn't mean you become arrogant or reckless or inconsiderate. It means you become honest. It means you become present. It means you become real. And reality responds to realness with opportunities, with connections, with experiences that feel aligned and meaningful and true. The beautiful thing is, you don't have to become someone different. You don't have to fix yourself or improve yourself or transform yourself into some idealized version of who you think you should be. You just have to stop being who you're not. You just have to stop performing and start being. And when you do that, when you finally drop the mask and show up as yourself, reality breathes a sigh of relief. Because it's been waiting for you to stop pretending. It's been waiting for you to stop playing small. It's been waiting for you to stop hiding behind excuses and fears and limiting beliefs. Reality wants to support you. Reality wants to respond to you in ways that feel good, that feel aligned, that feel like magic. But it can only do that when you give it clear information to work with. When you stop sending mixed signals and start broadcasting from a place of authenticity. So if you're tired of feeling like life is happening to you, if you're tired of reacting to circumstances instead of creating them, if you're tired of waiting for the world to change so you can be happy, then it's time to flip the script. It's time to understand that you're not a victim of reality. You're a co-creator with it. And the moment you start taking responsibility for what you're broadcasting, the moment you start being authentic instead of perfect, the moment you start showing up as yourself instead of who you think you should be, reality starts responding in ways that will amaze you. Not because you're forcing it to, but because you're finally giving it something real to work with. The question isn't whether reality will respond to you. The question is, what are you going to give it to respond to? Because every moment, every interaction, every breath is an opportunity to broadcast something different, something authentic, something real, something that invites reality to dance with you instead of against you. Your life is not happening to you. Your life is responding to you. And once you truly understand that, everything becomes possible. Not because you're trying to control outcomes, but because you're finally free to be yourself. And yourself is exactly who reality has been waiting for.